Hi, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Bramble Fox using lots of new goodies from the store. So I've got the epic acrylic title set, I've got the new woodies chevrons and the latest set of arrows. I think they're version 4. There's lots of arrows in previous releases, but these are the latest ones. And I've got those in black, and they come in 4 different colours, and I think off the top of my head it's red, white, kind of like a turquoisey minty colour, and then the black that I've got. And all of those together kind of screamed boyish to me, so I thought I'd make a boyish layout. And I've pulled out Cocoa Vanilla Studios Legendary Collection, and I've got a really old, it's probably 4 or 5 years old, this picture now. It's of my little boy when he was a bit younger, playing in the park. And I was inspired by the colours in my photo for this collection, and also the fact that I wanted a really boyish layout. And the epic set of perspective titles, a couple of the words have stars inside the letters, and this collection by Cocoa Vanilla has got loads of stars in it, so that was the other reason for me choosing this collection. And it just so happened that as I was going through my 6x8 paper pad, I had these 2 scraps of paper that just sort of fell out on my desk, and I thought, just slot them behind my photo, see if I can use them. And the whole kind of layout was born from that. I didn't really sit down and have an idea in mind. It was just I had those 2 bits of pattern paper there. They're probably cut 3x4. My photo is slightly smaller than 3x4 today. So I just slotted them behind my photo and thought, oh, yeah, I like that, we'll go with that. And then I just started pulling things out, and things kind of just landed on my page. So I've got the acrylic title is the 2 words from that set. I've got totally and cool. And I love that set because it's kind of like a silver, almost like a dark grey charcoal colour, but it's like metallic-y and glittered. And although it's still sort of boyish to me, and I kind of associate glittery, sparkly things more with girls, I absolutely adore the way it looks. It actually reminds me of a wallpaper that my brother had in his bedroom when he was a bit older. It was kind of like a metallic silver colour, so it kind of reminds me of that, and it was a very boyish bedroom. But I absolutely adore that set. You can't really see it here, my lights are shining on it, but you do get to see that glittered effect in the close-ups at the end. And in the background of my photo, I've got a lot of green with the grass. So I wanted to get some green on the page. So I've pulled out one of the green pattern papers from the collection. And this is something I've been doing a lot lately. I made a layout using an older one of the newer Pink Fresh collections. And I'd punched some circle from a strip and just slotted it behind my photos. And I really loved how it looked. It's kind of like using the negative bit when you cut a shape out using a punch or a die. 9 times out of 10 that gets thrown in the bin, but I do tend to keep them a lot, meaning to use them. And lately I've been making them purposely to use them, which kind of defeats the object because the ones I have got in my stash aren't getting used. But anyhow, I've done a couple with circled, and I wanted to do stars today to match the stars in that cool acrylic title there. It's got stars in the middle of the O's. So I've just used a star from the ephemera pack in this collection and drawn around it and cut those out with my craft knife. And then with a black pen, I'm going around the outside edge of everything, just doodling a border. Again, something I think makes for a good boyish layout, lots of black doodle bits. So I've just done that and distressing the edges, of course. I love to distress edges. So you're going to go around everything and distress those edges. And I start off using an edge distressing tool. It's a particular tool for that purpose. But this green bit here, where I'd cut the centres out of those stars, it was a little bit flimsier. So I find that the blade of a scissors works a little bit better for things like that. Although I am quite heavy-handed with them, I do tend to rip things a lot with scissors. But you can use either. If you don't have an edge distressing tool, a pair of scissors works just as well. I'm raising my photo up on foam. That's another thing I like to do, just to help my photo to stand out from my layout and remain the focal point. And I'm going to get things sort of stuck in place or stuck together, all these layers, but not actually stuck to my background yet, because I do want to add a little bit of stencil detail to my background. So that little star piece there, that green piece, is just going to slot behind those at an angle. I don't want everything lined up too perfectly. I do like to have some diagonals on my page, so I like the way that looks. And again, you're going to get those kind of stuck in place so that I can see where I want to add my stenciling. And I pulled out a couple of stencils. That first one is a newer stencil, but I decided that I thought it might look a little bit blocky once I'd added the ink through, and just for this design I wasn't sure that would be the right look. So in the end I reached for my favourite Bramble Fox stencil. This is number 17, Fox Cut 17, and it's a gorgeous starburst effect, and I absolutely adore this. It starts really narrow in the centre, and then the kind of starburst design bits get wider as you get out. I don't think I've ever used it from the centre all the way out. I only ever use it like I'm using here, just to add a little bit of detail, and that is going to peek out behind my photos and patterned paper. And I've gone for black because I just wanted to have some sort of really dark spots and accents on this layout. Again, it's a really boyish layout, and I am intending to paint my woodies, those chevrons. I'm going to paint those black, so I wanted to get a bit more black on the page. So I've used that Fox Cut with a black distress ink in, I think it's called Black Soot actually. And then obviously I'm cleaning my stencil, because don't leave your stencils, always clean them, look after your stencils. I learnt this the hard way with texture paste. Once it dries on, there's just no getting it off, so I always take time to clean my stencils in between use. But I absolutely love how that looks with the black lines coming out from behind my pattern papers and photo there. And just to bring in a little bit more black, I have added a layer of black cardstock behind my photo just to help it pop a little bit. And then inspired by the stars in those acrylic pieces, I am going to fussy cut lots of stars from this collection, from the pattern papers, and just place those around my design. And then my chevrons, these woodies, I've picked out the smaller chevrons. You get smaller ones and larger ones. I've pulled out the smallers, and I've got the open ones and the kind of the central closed bit. So at the bottom there you can see I've got two open and a closed, and then at the top I've got two closed and an open, and I've got those facing in kind of towards the centre of my page. Although they're not pointing directly at my photo, they're kind of pointing in sort of the direction of it, if you like, just to help again to keep that photo my focal point. So now I'm getting to a point where I'm happy with how this is coming along and how things are looking. So I'm going to commit and get some things stuck down. So those pattern papers I'm just going to stick flat to my background, and then my photo I've got raised up on foam, and quite a few of my embellishments are dimensional. Obviously I've got my Bramble Fox titles, the acrylic titles, and the woodies. Those bring in lots of dimension as well. And then a few bits of ephemera I'm going to raise up on foam pads as well. I always use glossy accents for my Bramble Fox products, for acrylic and the woodies. It holds really well. It's a nice strong hold. It does take a few minutes to kind of stick. It's not instant like double-sided tape can be, but once it's dried, there's no way those are going to fall off my layout at all. So it's always my go-to adhesive for acrylics, for wood veneer, and sequins as well. I love to use it for, and it lasts forever. I've had this bottle for well over a year, so it is my favourite thing to use. And I'm going to get my chevrons stuck down and then paint them after with a small fine paintbrush. I could have painted them before sticking down, but then I would have to have waited for them to dry before I could pick them up and stick them. So as long as you're careful with your paintbrush, you can paint them in situ. It's absolutely fine. And I'm going to do that in a minute with some acrylic paint. So I've just skipped the video forward for you a little bit. I've got all of those fussy cut stars stuck in place. And I'm just having a look through the Cocoa Vanilla collection just to see if there are a few little bits I can bring in to help embellish my page. So I thought I'd bring in this globe. It's got really nothing to do with my photo other than the fact that the colours match really nicely and my little boy is my world. So I thought that would be quite fitting to use. Globes aren't something I use very often on layouts. We don't do a lot of travelling since our son was born. So yeah, for me it's about being a bit clever and trying to work those into a collection. So he is my world. So that's why I stuck that globe on. And then over on the right, I've got just a circular die cut piece, and I've added a rocket there. In the photo, he's sat inside, it's kind of like a metal dish, almost looks a bit like a UFO, and it spins round, and it's one of those that spins and tilts, and just looking at it makes me feel really sick. But it goes really, really fast, and it does look like he's about to zoom off into space. So when I saw the rockets, I kind of remembered that and thought, that'd be a nice little addition. So although it doesn't really go with the page, there's nothing else space related on it, it goes with the story behind the photo for me. So I always add a little bit of journaling either to the front of my layouts, but I'll be honest, more often than not it goes on the back because I don't like my handwriting, and I will sort of add a little bit in about how fast he goes and how he thought he was going to zoom out the thing, and it will all kind of make sense to him when he's reading this, hopefully in years to come when he's looking back on all these memories. So you saw there very quickly I just painted my chevrons, and that took literally minutes to do, probably 2 minutes, and I had those all painted with black acrylic paint. I didn't need to prime them with gesso or anything, I've just gone straight on with the black, and I love the way that looks, and it dries really quickly on the woodies as well. And then I've brought in 3 of the acrylic arrows, and I've gone for the ones that have the little curls in, and I've tried to place them around my photo, trying to make that visual triangle around my photo. And then I finished the layout off with some black splatters, again using that black acrylic paint which I just watered down slightly. And that is my finished layout. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making this one. I used to make lots of boyish layouts, and then I kind of got more into florals, and I wasn't quite so scared of putting florals on a boy layout, and I moved away from doing really boyish layouts. So it was really nice today to have some products that inspired me to make a boyish layout. So I really enjoyed it, and I hope you have too. So thank you for joining me. I will leave some links in the description box below as always to the Bramble Fox shop, to our Foxbox monthly subscription page, and also to our Bramble Fox Friends Facebook group. Please do head on over and join. We have loads of fun in the group. We have some live scraps from people. We have lives when Morag and Nicola go to crops. We have loads of inspiration from the design team and our group members, and also you can take part in our monthly challenge there and win a voucher to the store. So well worth heading over and having a look there. But thanks again for joining me. I will leave you with the last few close-ups, and I'll see you next time.